For any of you who weren't with us a little bit ago for part 1, we're just going to do a very brief overview of what that looks like and then direct you to where you can find it more in detail if you need to. So essentially what we're going to be talking about is coping skills for you as parents, caregivers, ways of managing stress in a healthy way. So this presentation itself, which right now we're kind of in the middle of it, we did the first half a little bit ago, but it is found on the sked.com website and app that you use to register and everything like that. So if you go to the website and you click on Coping Skills Part 2, the PowerPoint is on there. So if you missed the first part, you can still see all of that information. But essentially, we're looking over various coping and relaxation skills that we can give to you, that you can take with you and use or practice to see what you might find helpful. So we're going to do some different skills during this time than we did during part 1. And the first one of those that we're going to start with is going to be chair yoga. So if you weren't here, though, just to introduce ourselves, my name's Holly Chalkwater. This is Jessica Sen. We're both therapists from Grow Well Cleveland in Lakewood. So obviously coping skills is a big suit of ours that we work on with people. Okay.
Before I get into the chair yoga thing, is there anyone that's come in for the second part? If so, do you have any requests, or actually anyone from part 1 as well? That has anyone any requests or things that you'd like to go over or things like that, so we can make note of that? No? Everybody's so chill. Yeah. Is it just because we're that soothing? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we have a 3-minute chair yoga essentially that we wanted to teach everyone because the whole idea of this session is to teach you guys skills that you can use for yourself when you're stressed out but don't have hours to chill out or relax. So chair yoga is one of the easiest things that you can do both at work and at home or wherever. I mean, pretty sure you can do the majority using your car too if you have to. So that should work out pretty well. So it looks like the first one that we're doing is literally just like a body bend. So you're just gonna, for those of you that want to participate, all you want to do is just take your hands like this, put them in your lap, and then just curl forward as much as you can. And then you just chill in this moment for a little bit. The next one, you just take, seated upright, and you take your arms and you put them up, just straight up. I have no idea whether or not I'm going to go all the way up in this outfit. We'll see. So you put them up, and then just hold that. If you want to, you can also lean back. Okay. The next one is that I want you to take one hand up straight. I want you to take your other hand and hold on to the side of your chair and then lean over as much as you can. Whole head, everything. One variation of this would be amazing to do is that you take your arm up here and then you swirl forward and then start going down. You can feel the stretching hopefully. And then back up. And then switch sides, okay? So over. Then when you're ready, you can start rolling forward, roll your shoulder down, forward. And then that's it. So the next one is a shoulder stretch. So you basically take your hands and go like this, and then your shoulders should come forward, okay? Wait a minute. Do I do it right? Yeah, I did. Okay.
I don't remember the other, and then you're
Yeah.
shoulder and thumb.
Yeah. Except my Jones
Not
here
working
is
that
not
way.
cooperating with me here. So just roll your hands like this, and then just hold them. And basically the idea is that it pulls your shoulders forward a lot, so that you should be able to feel stretching between your shoulder blades, okay? Most of us hold stress in our neck and shoulders, so stretching this area would be most beneficial so that you can feel, a little bit more relief. Okay, so the next one is you hold side of the chair, you put one arm out straight, and then the opposite knee, though, you have to lift up and hold. So this one might require a little bit more like sitting back for some. I have to sit back. This belt and I are not getting along today with yoga, let me tell you. And then you put your hand down, and then other hand, and then up. Okay, and then the next one, the last one, is you take one leg, you cross it over as flat as you can, and then sit up straight. Because when you sit up straight, you should feel a lot of stretching around the side of your leg. And if you don't feel stretching, meaning like if you're already really flexible, what you can do is you just keep your spine straight, but bend forward. And you will feel much more stretching to the side of your hip. Okay, you just hold that for a little bit. And then trade sides. So cross the other leg, sit up straight. If you're not feeling it, then spine straight and bend forward a little bit. And that is pretty much just like a basic 3-minute chair yoga. Yoga is really beneficial. I know that you shared in session one that you like to do hot yoga. Hot yoga is amazing. I do not do hot yoga. I prefer restorative yoga, in which you get to lay there, you take a nap, and they give you a mini massage. It's also incredibly beneficial. So any form of yoga or exercise is fine in my book, especially if they use the good smellies with the mini massage. Like, oh yeah, it's fine. They call it shavasana. I call it a nap.
We do that every week at the office.
Every Wednesday.
An hour.
Okay, I think you're next, right?
Okay, so this one is called the 5-4-3-2-1 rule. You may have also heard this called before just a grounding exercise. So this is an exercise that we use that incorporates all of our senses to help us be very grounded and present in the moment. So this is one that they also frequently use for panic attacks and anxiety, because if your mind is really focused on something that's causing this anxious reaction in your body, and you redirect your mind to focus specifically on engaging each one of your senses, it tricks your mind into redirecting its focus. So then whatever was causing the anxiety is alleviated for a few moments, and then you might be brought back down and then able to better handle whatever was causing the anxiety. So basically, with this one, you would be looking around at your surroundings and you would find 5 things you can see. So this one adds a second step of describing. So in part 1, we did talk about mindfulness techniques and how describing things can be effective and help you be even more engaged in the moment, because then you're more focused on whatever you're experiencing. So it's one thing to look around and see 5 things. And another variation you can use if you're in a familiar environment is looking around and trying to notice 5 things that you've never noticed before. So sometimes it can be shocking to us that we could be in the same place every day for weeks or months or years, and we might not even notice certain things. So that is kind of a fun twist that you could take on it as well. Naming 4 things you can feel. So that could just be something around you. It could be fabric of your clothes, your feet on the floor, anything that uses the tactile stimulation. 3 things you can hear, so whatever sounds are occurring around you. A lot of the times we're not even aware of sounds that are occurring, especially if we're used to them. 2 things you can smell, so if there are any scents in your surroundings or in the room where you are. And 1 thing you can taste. So sometimes if you, let's say, aren't eating or drinking anything, even just chewing mint gum can be helpful for this, because then you're very focused on that sense of taste at that time. So used a lot for anxiety and panic attacks, also used for if you're very, say, hyper-focused on something or frustrated with something and you're having a lot of trouble letting it go, this can be a good tool to use in that moment as well, just to shift your mind for a few moments. And then not saying that using this skill makes whatever the stressor was go away, but then you might feel better able to manage or handle the situation afterwards once you've brought your body down out of that stress response.
Okay, so to add to that just a little bit, I always tell my clients to like touch the thing. So like I often try to get them to like pinpoint something across the room that might seem like it has like an interesting texture, and then get up and move to that thing so they can actually feel it. And then as far as like things that you can smell, I have told people like you can smell the inside of your shirt, you can smell, you know, anything like that, like a blanket, whatever, like your hair, if you have long hair, like Holly's, like these types of things, because like this prevents someone from saying, well, I don't have any, you know, I don't have the thing near me to do this. And I'm like, well, you don't need anything to do this. That's the whole point. You can just use the things that are around you or on you to do this. And then as far as like a taste, I always tell people to take a drink of water. Holly's suggestion of mint gum though is really good, but also like taking a drink of water can suffice. So this is the rule of fives, and we tend to get very anxious and we tend to ruminate, right? So rumination is the idea that we perseverate or think about things constantly, right? Like I know there's people that will say like, oh, I was in the shower and I thought of this thing that happened in high school. And I'm like, okay. Or, you know, something recently, you've gotten bad news or something is going on and you get upset about it and then it just sticks in your head. Like you had a difficult exchange at work. Somebody was rude at the grocery store, something like that. And we tend to like kind of hold on to these things. So this is designed to like, if you're already going to ruminate, in my opinion, you might as well do it productively. Okay, so if you're ruminating, you can ask yourself this in succession in terms of like, is this going to bother me in 5 hours? Is this going to bother me in 5 days? Is this going to bother me in 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years? And what it's designed to do is help you to understand the honestly value of whatever you're upset about. And sometimes these things will bother us for 5 months or 5 years, especially in your guys' case in terms of like, your kiddos have, you know, serious disorder. They've had surgery. They're going to have surgery. This is more about the little things that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis that stress us all out and make us like just over the top, like upset sometimes about nothing. So these are the things, the little things that you can focus on, or you use this to help you refocus your attention on something that has more meaning or more value versus getting upset about something that is a bit smaller. Questions, concerns? Yes.
I think the difficulty is not dealing with little things.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, for example, it's having so much to deal with already, based on what my son has.
Yes.
That the littlest of things that I can usually deal with on a daily basis makes a difference. It's the stuff that you can't stand anymore after going through so much. And that's where it's difficult to deal with. Like, you get up, you see your son do certain things, and you're completely powerless. There's nothing you can do. And then you have someone honk at you in his car.
Right.
You snap just because of that.
Right.
Because this is the kind of stuff that you know. So that's where it's difficult to deal with.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes.
It might not matter in 5 years. Right in the moment, you just want to get out of your car and then see. You know what?
It was the last thing you needed that day in that
Exactly.
moment. Yeah.
As someone that also
Like when
suffers.
You pour your coffee on your pants.
Yeah.
After that night,
Yep.
you know, usually it's nothing, but that day,
There's a lot of
like
things.
the coffee machine, you want to.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
It's and I'm a very angry person.
As someone that also suffers from some road rage, I get you on that one.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
it's rough.
I'm not
I
like
do
you.
know.
You know the consequences of road rage,
Yes.
which which is what makes it even more difficult, is because
You can't do what you want to do.
bottle up everything that you're
Correct.
going through,
Correct.
but you also have to bottle up that little thing for which you would have snapped on the,
Correct.
and that makes it really,
It does make it really, really difficult. I completely agree with you. It's the littlest thing. It's like that phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, it's always like the littlest little thing that's just like, whatever. I think I used maybe last session, like the example of like, somebody gets upset because like you tell your kid to do something and they didn't take the chicken out of the freezer or something like that for dinner, and you're like, okay. Like, now I gotta get dinner, now I gotta do this, now I gotta leave the house again, and I already got home and I have to stop here, and it's like, it's just one thing after another. And so I do understand where you're coming from on that one. And as maybe trivial as some of these things sound in terms of like some of the coping skills that we're talking about, they are, yeah. Yeah, it's odd to think that like something as small as just trying to refrain and trying to be like in contact with your body and aware of yourself can be kind of the difference between whether or not you truly do break the coffee machine or whether or not you just laugh about it and be like, right, I'm going to Starbucks. Like, I'm out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there can be a little bit of a difference in how we react to things, which is a CBT thing, which we don't have a lot of in this presentation, but potentially could have, done more with, and we can still talk about that. We have plenty of time.
it will take you weeks.
I know it would take me weeks, yeah. I am a therapist. I have a lot of time. No, I'm just kidding. So, like, it's a lot of things that we're just trying to give tiny little bits of, like, all right, what can you do in that moment to maybe try to calm yourself down to some point, even though we all know that we want to turn around in the car and scream at people and all kinds of things. And I drive a Wrangler, and a lot of people do hear me. So I feel your pain. So as far as that goes, like, I get what you're saying, but sometimes if it's something that you shouldn't be doing, like the road rage thing, right? Like, because we all know that that's not going to help us. Like, it's probably going to cause bigger issues in the long run, that sometimes using these little things to try to just bring us back down, just even a scotch could be the difference sometimes. And these don't work for everyone.
Yes.
I suck at meditating. I can't do it, like, at all. Like, I cannot get myself to calm down long enough to meditate to save my life.
I don't know if you guys watch Seinfeld. Serenity Now, Serenity Now.
Yeah, no. Serenity Now is like me screaming at people. Yeah. Then I feel better. And I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to work. One of the things, though, I will say that if you tend to have more of an anger reaction, right? So if your response, your like lizard brain says fight all the time, then I would highly encourage you to really look at exercise as being kind of another thing to help.
But again, sometimes you can't.
True.
You can't wake up in the morning and then tell your wife, honey, stay home with the kids. I'm going to go run for 5 hours.
True. True.
Back in 5 hours.
True. Yeah, you could go, you just can't come back, yeah.
You were talking earlier about things that we have to identify.
Yes.
To turn off the stress, might be listening to music or doing something.
Sure.
In my case, it's just like going into a room, locking the door, blasting the music,
Sure.
running for 1 hour.
Sure.
Sometimes you just can't.
That's true.
You can't leave your family behind, especially in our cases.
Right.
And then go up and then run. It would be so easy. Run for an hour.
That's why, a lot of this is designed to try to just give anything. I know that you have a ton of coping skills. I know that you all have like tried things and some work and some don't. So all we're really trying to do is just give like alternatives to the alternatives that you already have.
That's why we all here.
Huh?
That's why we all here.
Yes, yes. Side note, have you ever gone boxing?
Lisa?
Do you go to boxing?
No, because I'm pretty sure if I go, I'm not going to be able to play
Oh man, because like the Title Boxing Company, like, or just any of the boxing companies, like, they're amazing to go to. Yeah, so like just in terms of like activities, but. So this next one, is this one yours? Or are we going backwards?
Yeah, let's do body scan and then progressive.
Okay.
And then we're going to look at resources.
You doing body scan or am I supposed to do that?
I'll do body scan.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're going to walk through a couple of different actual activities at this point. So,
Which unfortunately are not running.
yes. So the first one is going to be a body scan meditation. So this is an alternative to, like, oftentimes when we think of meditation, we think of it just as, you know, sitting in silence or trying to clear our minds, and that's not something that works for everybody. So body scan meditation is something that could be more helpful because it's more directive. It gives you something to actually focus on, which then you might not notice your mind wandering off quite as much because you're having, like, you're being prompted, you're having something specific to focus on. So the way that I'm going to have you all practice this, if you're okay engaging in this, is we're going to just use your foot. So just notice one of your feet, and we're going to walk through a couple different steps in that area to show you what that's like, and then you can use it for any part of your body, and we're also going to do a full body progressive muscle relaxation too. So basically what I'll ask everybody to do, and I always say, you know, if you're trying to do a relaxing meditation, visualization, anything, do whatever's comfortable for you and helps you focus, whether it be closing your eyes or just focusing on a certain point of the room, whatever helps you focus. So we're going to start by just noticing first the toes of your foot. So just trying to notice them, just trying to feel them for a moment, not looking for anything specific, just simply noticing them. And then notice the sensations that you might feel in your toes at this point. Just again, simply noticing. And then we're going to add in some of the deep breathing we talked about before. So I'll ask you to just take a couple of deep breaths as you're noticing that. And see if you can actually imagine the breaths that you're taking flowing to your toes, trying to feel that. And then simply ask yourself, what am I feeling in this part of my body? So whatever it is that you are noticing. And then we're going to move to the heel of your foot and notice that for a moment. And notice any sensations, whether it be warm or cold, if there's any tension, what your foot is touching, whether it be your shoe, the floor. Again, while taking some deep breaths. And asking yourself what you're noticing in your heel at this point. Okay, so we're going to talk about that for a couple minutes. So that's a very simple, brief example of what a body scan looks like. When we get into the progressive muscle relaxation is when we're going to be adding another step to that, where we're actually trying to relax those groups in our body. But what this one is about is simply just scanning your body. So obviously, the most effective way would be to do that from head to toe, if time allowed during that time, because a lot of the times we hold stress in different parts of our body, and we don't realize because we're just kind of on autopilot or going through our day-to-day. And if we do a body scan, sometimes we can notice where are we holding any stress or tension, and then furthermore, what do we need to do about that to release it? So that would be a simple version of body scan. So anything that anybody noticed during that, was it hard to focus? Did you notice anything specific? Was it weird? Anything at all? Okay, so we're going to get now into the progressive muscle relaxation, which is a little bit more in depth. This is going to be a full body one. Side note too, the resource slide that's up here right now, the progressive muscle relaxation we're going to be using is from the second one there, the CBTI coach. So for anybody that wasn't here during part 1, it stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia. So the app itself does focus on different components of sleep and insomnia, but also uses a lot of general relaxation techniques as well. Since we're not clicking on any links on the screen because it froze us up earlier. So we're going to use it here directly from the app. So for this one, same thing. Feel free to be in whatever position's comfortable to you, eyes open, eyes closed, however you are comfortable. And it's very guided, so you don't have to think much on your own or do much. It's going to walk you exactly through it.
Injuries such as back pain or a knee injury, you should avoid tensing muscles that might affect that injury. To begin, close your eyes and take a deep breath into your belly. Then exhale with a sigh. Again, take a deep breath and imagine clean air going down your throat and filling your lungs. And then exhale with a sigh. Take another deep breath, and as you release it, think the word relax silently to yourself. Allow your breath to be smooth and rhythmic, inhaling and exhaling at a pace that is comfortable for you. As you continue to breathe, continue to say the word relax to yourself, slowly and calmly, each time you breathe out. As you do this, imagine that the tension throughout your body begins to melt away. To begin, clench both your fists and bend your elbows, drawing your forearms and hands up towards your shoulders, tightening your biceps to do so. Hold the muscles in your hands and arms tight, and notice the sensations of pulling, discomfort, and tightness. Hold the tension while you take a deep breath into your belly, and then slowly exhale as you release the muscles of your hands and arms. Let your hands and fingers relax completely, and let your arms become limp at your side or in your lap. Feel the sensation of relaxation as the tension drains away from your arms and hands, and allow the muscles to become looser and looser. You may notice that they feel lighter and warmer. Breathing in slowly and out, thinking the word relax each time you breathe out. Now bring your attention to your face and tighten your forehead, the muscles around your eyes and your jaw, by squeezing your eyes tight, clenching your jaw, and wrinkling your forehead and nose. Feel the wrinkling and pulling sensations across the forehead and the top of your head. Feel the tightness around your eyes and cheeks and the tension in your jaw. Hold that tension and take a deep breath into your belly, and then slowly exhale as you let your face relax completely. Feel the muscles in your forehead becoming smooth and limp, the muscles of your cheeks and eyes softening, and your jaw relaxing. Let your lips part slightly and let your jaw hang loose. Notice the tension melting away. Feel your muscles becoming softer, more relaxed, and feel the warmth and lightness that replaces the tension that was there before. Continue to breathe slowly and gently, thinking the word relax each time you exhale. Tighten your shoulders by raising them up as if you were going to touch them to your ears, tensing without straining. Feel the tension in your shoulders radiating down into your back and up into your neck and the top of your back. Hold that. Notice those sensations and take a deep breath into your belly, and then slowly exhale as you relax your shoulders. Let your shoulders droop down and let your neck relax completely, feeling very relaxed. Notice the contrast between the tightness you felt and the relaxation you feel now. Let your head relax as if there's nothing holding it except the support behind it. Feel the sense of relaxation around your neck and shoulders as you let the tension drain away. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply. Now bring your attention to your stomach. Tighten the muscles of your stomach by pulling your belly in towards your spine tightly. Hold that pose. Feel the sensation of the tension. Hold it while you are taking a deep breath, and then slowly exhale as you relax your muscles. Imagine a wave of relaxation spreading through your belly. Allow the muscles of your stomach to be soft and relaxed, letting go more and more. Notice the difference between the tension you felt and the relaxation you feel now. Let any remaining tension melt away, continuing to breathe gently in and out, feeling yourself become calmer and more relaxed. Now tighten your buttocks by squeezing them together, and at the same time squeeze the muscles of your thighs. You can lift your feet up to help tense your leg muscles. Notice the sensations of pulling, tightness, and constriction. Hold on to that tension and focus on it, and take a deep breath. Then slowly exhale as you relax your buttocks and thighs. Allow your muscles to relax completely and to let any tension drain away, melting away. Feel how the muscles of your hips and legs feel different now than when they did when you were clenching them. Really notice the difference. Continue to let go further and further, experiencing an even deeper relaxation. Breathing in and out, slowly and gently, in and out. Now tighten the muscles of your calves and your feet as you flex your feet, pulling your toes towards you. Flex these muscles carefully to avoid a cramp. Continue to flex your feet, feeling the muscles of your calves, feet, and toes tighten and pull. Hold attention for another second and take a deep breath. And now, slowly exhale, release. As your muscles relax, notice how the sensations in your calves and feet change, perhaps feeling softer or warmer or lighter. Really notice how the sensations of tension are different from the sensations of relaxation you are now experiencing. With each breath, allow more tension to drain from your calves, relaxing more and more deeply. Continue to breathe slowly, thinking the word relax each time you exhale. Continuing to let any remaining tension drain away, breathing in and out, in and out. Relax. Relax. Now that your whole body is feeling relaxed and comfortable, feel that sense of warmth and calmness spread over your whole body, continuing to breathe naturally, smoothly, and steadily, letting the breath in and out, slowly and regularly, thinking the word relax every time you breathe out, breathing in and out, in and out. As you continue to breathe, imagine a wave of relaxation slowly spreading throughout your body, starting at your head and gradually penetrating all of your muscles, all of the cells in your body, all the way down to your toes. Allow yourself to relax completely, continuing to breathe slowly and smoothly, sinking into that feeling of relaxation and noticing how it feels, so that you will be able to access it and recreate it later on your own. In a moment, I'm going to count from 5 to 1. As I do, you will gradually feel more and more alert. When I get to 3, open your eyes, and when I get to 1, you will feel alert and refreshed and ready for the rest of your day. 5, 4, beginning to shift your body, feeling a bit more awake now. 3, opening your eyes. 2, a bit more awake now. 1, now you are feeling refreshed and alert, relaxed and ready for whatever is next.
Thank you for participating. Does anybody want to share any feedback of anything they noticed throughout that? You're too calm. Okay, so to talk about that a little bit. So Obviously, that would be the full body one, and that one was about 8 minutes or so. So there are variations you can do. Like, we know that you don't have all of the time in the world to do a full body progressive muscle relaxation at any point throughout your day. So you can do variations at times, such as with your fists can be effective, tensing and releasing even just a few times, or with your shoulders, anywhere that you're noticing tension in your body. So you can utilize that in whatever way is either realistic at the time and doable, or whatever way is helpful for you. Going back to sleep that we talked a little bit about, this is a really helpful one to do before bed, just because, again, we run on such high energy all day. Sometimes we don't realize how stressed or tense we are, and then we don't get restful sleep. So that can be a helpful one to do before bed also. Anything else you want to add? Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I understand where you're coming from, as you mentioned, if you have time to do and such. Any hints on, when the situation is, I guess, stressful with their kids? Because I think a lot of people could probably adjust is that, I was a pro athlete, so I can focus my mind, nothing would bother me outside of it. My child screams twice, I want to kill someone. And I was like, wow, it's very quick. It's the issue of saying, if you have time in the morning or night, they're awesome things to do, but literally
But what if you don't?
And I hear a scream and I want to literally bludgeon somebody, so it's the trying to find that, it's serious,
Uh-huh.
it's that, where it just gets, like my daughter's screaming some days, and it's like it finds a part of my brain that it's brutal, so I'm trying to think of ways to, calm down quickly without saying, all right, you mentioned, okay, you're with the kids and I'm walking out.
Right. I need to step away for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
I completely understand what you're saying. I can be at Walmart and hear an infant cry literally like half a store away, and it's like an ice pick to the temple. I don't know what the deal is, but I tell you, I swear it was like something that triggered when I had my daughter, that it was like some sort of switch, and I can hear a baby under 12 months crying anywhere where I'm near, and I'm like, make it stop. What's wrong with the baby? Somebody get the baby. And so I do understand where you're coming from on that one. All I can say is that being aware of your triggers is half of the battle. So if you are completely aware that yes, unfortunately sometimes you come home from work, you're already already exhausted and those things, and you hear your daughter cry or scream, and it is an immediate kind of thing, then we need to I would encourage you to work on those triggers outside of home before you get home and hear the screaming, if that makes sense. So I would encourage you to try to figure out, what can you do that can calm you down and try to relieve some of the stress that you're already experiencing prior to getting home and hearing that, so that when you get home you have maybe even an iota more of tolerance. Because if you know the trigger, then you can try to work to control the trigger outside of the stressful environment, so that once you get to the environment in which, like you said, you can bludgeon someone, it's like an ice pick to the temple, then you have some chance of even a smidgen more patience or something like that. So.
Tell my friends and tell CNN that I was such a nice guy when I was it one day.
Yeah.
It seems so normal.
One of my coworkers the other day sent me, and she's also my cousin, but she sent me this thing, and she goes, it was a thing that said and no one's going to tell CNN that I was nice if I go disappearing. And I was like, that's actually, okay, I accept that, thank you. So I feel you on that one, but trying to notify your triggers be aware of them and do other activities outside, or it's therapy or something like that, whatever it takes to identify your triggers and manage your triggers outside of the stressful situation.
And I do find time to work out a couple times a week still, as my wife too. We kind of try and play off, so we still are doing activities. So it's not like I'm sitting at home just stressing, but
No.
even, I can go work out for an hour and I feel great when I come home and you're
Yeah.
and instantly. So it's trying to find
Something, anything. Keep trying other things, because sometimes, if exercise isn't it, then try something else. You just have to keep trying to see if you can find a combination or one thing that helps, or it's kind of hit and miss. Unfortunately, I don't have a clear-cut answer for you on that one. You did have a question.
Well, just to play off that,
Okay.
from a spouse relationship, when you see your husband wanting to kill husband. I mean,
I'm the guy now, I agree.
no, I mean, my husband's the same way. I mean, it's just, you get to that point of, but, from a husband-wife relationship, and, and the families that we're all.
Yeah, the family dynamic, yeah.
That's another stress in terms of on its own. So if I don't like the way my husband is responding to something or vice versa, I mean, any advice or on that?
I do actually have something to say about that one, but again, I don't know how effective all these things are going to be for you guys, because it's like a hit and miss. If you see your husband getting to the breaking point, right, then I would encourage you to find a way prior to the breaking point happening. So like coming up with a code word or some sort of like hand motion or something like that that's like, I'm up here. Does anybody watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Yeah, Charlie's like, I'm up here, right, about everything. So if you see that happening, then like you need to like come up with some sort of plan prior to that happening so that you can like tag in, tag out, and be like, if he, whatever, like, hey, like, why don't you blah, 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 whatever your code is, whatever it is, and try to like relieve one another so that you don't end up snapping at each other, because yes, snapping at each other after the fact and be like, why did you say that, is not helpful for anyone, even without a kiddo with special needs. It's not a good look. So trying to come up with something ahead of the game, ahead of the problem, is always the key. It's the same as what I was saying about finding the trigger, trying to work on the trigger outside of the situation. Same concept. It's always prior to the situation happening that we really need to work on getting ourselves under control or coming up with some sort of like plan, harebrained solution, whatever you want to try that day, to try to control some of these like honestly very natural reactions to things.
I like when the people with special needs children have to tell me how stressful their life is.
Yes.
Really? Do tell.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I can respect that. Yeah.
Have you ever tried noise canceling headphones?
Yeah, my wife is actually a product director for Harvard Card in North America, so I have all of them. That's the worst part, right? I've tried them and I'm like still going, walking around Walmart with like headphones. We think I'm the special needs one, yeah.
Yes, good.
I like what you said, though, it's kind of the self-talk thing sometimes, I think, because I actually have pulled a guy out of a car before, so I told a street performer to shove his flute up his ass one time, because he commented something about my dog, and that's all it took. He just said something about my dog, and I just went up. So I think, anger, I think, some of anger is kind of an issue here. So there's been times where I have felt like, like what you guys were talking about. I told my wife, I said, we need a safety word or something, because if you see me going, you need to tell me, like, and then I need to get up, because sometimes I won't stop. I'm so stubborn that I'll finish brushing the teeth. It does not matter, and I'm angry, and I need to be told that I'm angry, and I don't know. Then like today, it was kind of like walking on coals. I was brushing her teeth, and she was literally spitting blood in my face because she doesn't let me brush her teeth, so they get that, literally, and punching me in the gut and telling me she wants to stick a knife in my eye. And I was like just removed at another place. And I'm just like, no, I'm just brushing the teeth, but I'm really on a Hawaiian island with my feet in the sand. And super, super calm. So it's just like nothing was happening. So I don't know. I think all this is so important, because sometimes we don't, I think that was a big one, about making sure we're stepping in and saying, hey, you are over the cliff or real close to it.
Mm-hmm.
We meeting for scotch later? Bar? I'm buying.
Somebody earlier did ask if we were going to have an open bar during this presentation, since it's coping skills, but unfortunately we didn't have that option.
I lobbied for it. I did not succeed.
I guess not.
Oh, go ahead. Do you want this?
I was just going to piggyback on this whole conversation, because we've been trying a lot to do, the safety word, and also like tag teaming situations. If she's stressed, I take over, vice versa. But one thing about that I struggle with mainly is being called out on me being upset, because I'm already at that point. And then she walks over and is like, hey, I think you're really upset. You need to or here, let me give you a piece of advice. And that's like when I don't want to hear advice, but I need to. So the safety word is like, Yeah,
Yeah.
and finding it way sooner would be.
Side note, instead of like, it can happen or it can change the way you phrase things, or the way you phrase things can change it. So instead of saying like, hey, I see you're upset, I would encourage you to try to say, hey, do you need a break? Like things like that. It can be just that little.
I'll take over.
Yeah, little, I'll take over can also be misconstrued though, because it looks like they're getting demoted. I'm just saying. It's that little nuance of like being like, hey, do you need a break or something like that, versus, hey, you seem upset. It can be
It
a
doesn't
huge,
feel like you're being called out.
change between those two things, and sometimes it can be tolerated. But on the other hand, like, I do hear what you're saying, and yes, like having your partner say like, I'm upset or something like that, or I think you're upset, is hit and miss with couples. It can go either way. Some people handle it really, really well. Some people do not tolerate it at all. So when we talk about these things, that's why maybe like the first part was so in depth about like trying to be mindful of yourself, because being aware of yourself in the moment is the difference between someone telling you you're upset and you being like, I need a break. So that's why like we try to like couple the two together and hopefully come to some sort of like semblance of, like let's even this out or something like that. So anything else?
Okay, so then what we're gonna do at this point, just to highlight a couple things. So these are some online resources and apps and whatnot. So the last one is a book though. So the book itself is catered more towards parents who have children with, whether it be special needs or behavioral difficulties. So just, it's relatable in a sense for people, so that can be helpful, because then they also know like I'm not the only person going through this, or like other people feel the same way. And then these apps that we've highlighted here are mostly apps that use a lot of the relaxation techniques we've talked about today. So a lot of them, like the CBTI where we did the guided muscle relaxation, a lot of them do have guided meditations, recordings. So if you're trying to learn a skill, you're guided right through it, which can make it a lot easier. And I think all of these ones are free, or at least have free versions as well. Okay. And then these are some resources. So we tried to look at local resources as well as just overall national resources, since we know that everybody's not from this area specifically. So the first one is catered more towards this area, looking at support groups that are available for parents specifically. And then, let's see, do we take the risk of clicking on one of them and seeing how it goes?
Well, pretty much almost done, so if it freezes.
All right, cool. It did not work well earlier.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, no, it's gonna freeze again. Okay. 'Cause
Yep,
that's what it did before.
not working. So the resources, if you want to access the links through the PowerPoint that's updated or uploaded to the website, you could do that. But these are kind of a combination of, say, support groups and also educational materials specifically catered towards parenting stress, parents of special needs children.
Anything else? Any other comments, questions, concerns, anything like that?
I just have a comment.
Oh, go ahead.
Because I know these gentlemen have probably, they said it, and I think they all kind of said the same sentiment that we all feel, is that, we all live our everyday experience, and there's nothing we can, like, we're doing everything we can to help our kids. And that huge anxiety and stressor we can't do anything about, but it's all these little things, and like, we want to react to them because that's the one thing we can react to in a negative way.
It's the one thing you can control, generally speaking.
Right. And, we can't act out against our children.
Yep.
I mean, pray to God we don't. But, if the coffee machine spills on me, yeah, I can smash that damn thing. Yeah, I'll buy another one. But, it feels good in the moment to do it. So is it the right thing to do? No. Or pulling the guy out of the car, or, yeah, there's negative consequences, but now I'm not advocating, but it's, we all feel those urges because it's the one thing we can react to, or the little things, so it's tough.
It's the same word in English, exutory.
Say it one more time.
Exutory.
Exutory?
Yes, which is like the only thing, no, not necessarily, it's a good thing. The only thing, oh, sorry. It's the only thing you can use to run away from a situation. Someone is pissing you, you can punch him in the face, and you can go out and then kick a tree, for example. Not if it's the tree's fault, but it's something that you use as an exit to throw out your anger or whatever. So in French, we say exutoire.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the term in English.
Projection is kind of similar.
It's like something that you can use to diffuse your anger, because you cannot diffuse that anger on whatever else. You can't punch your kids, for example. It's not their fault.
Right.
But I can break my coffee machine. I can, do something else to put that anger out. So something that might help us to do that. I'm not saying going out and then punch people in the face, but something that says, hey, that's...
Some people deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, but you have to be able to face the consequences, like going to jail and all this. But...
Am I gonna get a good review?
So something that you might be able to use either in one of your process, something that you can use and then say, hey, I'm going to use that technique to flow out that anger that I have against that person or whatever else I cannot control, and whatever else I can control. Let's use this.
Yes.
Go run. For me, it used to be, I had two things. Running for hours at end. I would get up in the morning and then run so much that you could come and then slap me in the face. I would be like completely empty and be like, go ahead, slap me again. Or go into my music room and then blast the music for 2 hours in a row and then dance in my underwear. And then once I'm done, I'm like, hey, planet, how are you guys? But sometimes you just don't have those kind of stuff anymore, and then you have to be able to create something else, or you have to put something else at your disposal to be able to diffuse your anger or whatever you cannot direct at the real cause of your anger. So.
It took me a long time to kind of get out of the mindset of being pissed at other people.
Yes.
They're like, oh, my kid's got an earache, it's terrible, we got to take him to the doctor, we got to do it. And back to my kid just had half his brain removed.
Right.
So it took a while, but then when you take a step back and you realize, well, in their world, that is a big deal.
Yes.
So it's, you kind of get to that point, but it's still in the back of your mind, like, well, big effing deal, but.
Yeah, what you're describing
but-
is essentially like CBT, like cognitive behavioral therapy, in terms of like being in control of the three things that you can control in life, which according to CBT are your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own behaviors. The rest is a crapshoot. So it's very difficult to embrace that mindset when every single thing seems to be against you. So yes, what you're describing though is definitively like a CBT model, in terms of like you have an active role in deciding whether or not you're going to allow yourself to get upset with something or move on. Okay, well, I think we're pretty much done. It's like 4:15. I'm sure everybody's pretty much like tired and wants to go home because I know my feet hurt. Thanks, Holly, for that, for making me aware of my feet. Any other things, or are we good to go? Good? Okay.
All right,
Awesome.
thank you all for coming.
Yep, thank you.